Coach Teeden, we are back. How
Yes,
are you,
sir.
man?
I'm good, man. It's the final countdown of the school year, so I'm feeling really good.
Yeah, a lot of things going on. A little update to our listeners. I ended up finding birth certificates and was able to get on the cruise, therefore saving my marriage.
Oh, man, it was a scary moment, Joe. I felt it.
So, yeah, I was sad to miss Nick Smith from Nova, but that there was some pressing issues there. But Coach Teeden, we're live period coming up. I know that doesn't really mean much to the Florida College Falcons, but
Oh, it means everything, man. We get to see some local guys get after and compete. So yeah, it's exciting time, man.
are you going anywhere?
Oh, absolutely. I'll be at the first weekend at FABC. Check out Bartow at their shootout. So we're locking in the schedule to see some local talent. So exciting to get out
Very
there.
nice.
And we get a high school guy on tonight, man. And,
Yes.
I think that's our roots. And so I always enjoy talking to high school guys, and this is a good one.
Yeah. Keb Burley, I have known him for so long. He's at Calvary Christian in Clearwater, not to be confused with the one in Fort Lauderdale, but I have known him for a long time, consider him a close friend, and I am an avid admirer of his program. He's been there 14 years. I mean, they go up against anybody. They'll stand and fight with anybody, and they're not going to win any layup line contests or airport contests, but they do everything the right way, and I just admire him. So, Coach Burley, how you doing, man?
Great. Great. I appreciate that. Thanks for the kind words. I appreciate that. It's been great knowing you all these years, and I've looked up to and admired your program as well. So that was very kind of you to say.
Well, thanks, Coach, and we appreciate you coming on. I know you're following someone from Nova Southeastern, so hopefully people haven't turned off their 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 podcast yet.
Yeah,
But yeah, you'll be great though. Let's get started, man. How are you wired?
so for me, the first thing is, it's my faith, and everything I do is centered around that. And I wake up every day with the goal to glorify God and try to treat people right and focus on the things that I say and do, and hope that I'm glorifying Him through those actions. And I fall short all the time. My wife will be the first one to tell you that, but I try, and that's what's in my heart and in my mind all the time. And that's something I've grown into. Like I didn't find Christ till I was in my 20s, and I was a pretty wild, young man. So my faith is definitely something that I've grown into, and then just intrinsically in me, I'm just super competitive. I mean, I'm just wired really, really competitive. I'm super laid back 95% of the time. But when it's time to go, man, I'm ready. Something just clicks, and I can't wait to go. I have kids that I teach in class. They'll come to a game and say, "Man, you went to the game last night. You're crazy. Like, what is going on? Are you bipolar? Like, what is wrong with you? Who was that guy?" But I love it. I love that fire that comes out, and I crave it.
Yeah, and it's funny, when you have that combination, you have the faith and you have that belief, and then you have that competitive fire. Sometimes it gets, there's some lines or some blurry lines drawn in there, like, hey man, is this a guy that's a believer of Christ should be yelling at the ref like that? I don't know, but tonight he is. I guess some
That's so
lines are blurred.
No, there's no doubt about that. And I definitely crossed the line a few times, and, I had to apologize. And
Yeah,
uh, I tell the guys that's my cross to bear. Like sometimes I get too competitive and,
yeah,
can go up that line a little bit. But the other thing I tell them is, you got to be tough to be a Christian, man. It's hard to live in the culture that we live in and play
no
the
doubt.
sport that we love and believe the things that we believe. So you gotta be tough. It's not all rainbows and unicorns. You gotta have a strong mind to be able to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Because the moment you claim that, then you're getting judged 3 times over. So it's
Sure.
absolutely. Coach, can you just talk about your experiences that kinda shaped your leadership and kinda who you are?
Yeah, I mean, again, just falling back on my faith. I got saved when I was about 25 years old through the craziest story. I actually got to share my testimony in chapel last week, and I was in my mid 20s and was living a life that I'm not super proud of. Doing some things that weren't great, that hurt people, hurt myself, and that kind of thing. And then I met a girl, and it's always somebody meets a girl, right? And she believed in some crazy stuff, and she'd tell me about it. how God flooded the earth and somebody lived in a fish's belly for 3 years and did, like, gosh, he's crazy. But met a pastor and started going to church, started reading the Bible, and started praying. And eventually I prayed, I'm like, God, just show yourself to me. Why does this have to be so confusing and so hard and so difficult to understand? And then all this stuff happened. It was great. I was playing a pickup at a park one night, and I get into it with a few guys, and it got pretty violent, back and forth, and really, really bad. And then a couple months later, I was coaching JV team. Joe knows Jamie Bobby. So I was coaching a summer league team, the JV team, and down in a rough neighborhood. And after the game, I collected all the guys' jerseys and everything, had them in a box. I was walking out, and I just got rocked. I mean, just got absolutely just destroyed from the side. I got jumped and kicked and beat. Well, it was the guys that I got into it with at the park that one day. And ended up in the hospital, almost died, had my jaw broken here and here, wired shut, stitches, ribs, the whole thing. 9 hours of surgery one day, 7 hours of surgery the next day. And then I made it out, and I had to go through recovery. I had my jaw wired shut and all these things. And then these things started to happen. I had like this card that was sent to me at this time when I was having a conversation with my dad with a Bible verse on it that was unbelievable. Reading a book another time, and this piece of paper falls out of this book that's got these other books quoted on them that kind of answered the questions that I was struggling with my faith. And so I ended up getting, baptized and saved, and it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. And then the guys that jumped me we went to trial, had a court date and all that stuff. They go to jail there was 4 of them. They get like 5 years in jail. And I think all that's over. And a couple of months later, I get a call from one of their attorneys, asked if I'll go in and talk to him. So I go and talk to him. Ends up these guys' families are in there, and we start talking and all this. They ask if I'll go back in front of the judge and ask for a reduced sentence for these guys. And I said, man, how am I going to do that? So I went and talked to the pastor that I had met. And he said, Keb, you got to do it, man. He said, God forgave you for all these things that you've done, all the sins, all the people you hurt, and he's forgiven. You got to forgive him. So I ended up going back in front of the judge and told him, yeah, you let him out. I'm fine with that. And but before you do, I want to talk to him. So I got to talk to them in prison through a phone call. I shared my testimony and what happened in my life through the injuries and stuff like that. And one of these guys ended up getting saved. He gave his life to Christ too. And we've actually become really good friends, believe it or not. And 30 years later now, we share our testimony with people. We've done prison ministries and stuff like that. And it's just been this really crazy relationship that we formed, but it's been the greatest thing. So God took the worst thing that happened to both of us and turned it into the best. So it's been really the center of my life, and now getting to pour that into the kids that I get to coach and the students that I get to teach is just a really blessing, especially here at Calvary.
Yeah, talk about rubber hitting the road moment. Yeah, that's amazing guidance by that pastor. He just, because again, you had to make a decision there, and it's easy to say, no, these guys, no, like it just, wow, that's amazing, man. Let's move into your basketball a little bit, your program, and it maybe not just your program. I just say your program because you've been terrific, at winning seasons every season since the first one, and just playing all comers, but maybe not just your program, but other programs in general. What do you think separates the consistently successful programs from the others?
That's a great question. I mean, I think I could say the same thing and ask you that same question, Joe, because you've been successful everywhere you've been. And, I think a part of it, in watching you build your program is you develop players and you create a system that's beneficial to them and you're successful with it. For me, I've been just so blessed that we've had really good players, at our school. And we've had kids that really are passionate about basketball. And that makes it fun to coach. They want to come in and work. They want to come in the mornings and shoot and stay after practice and come in at night and put in the extra work. And that makes it fun because it's my passion too. So when you can share that passion with the kids that you're coaching, you're really blessed. So that's the first thing. We've had a ton of talent. And then I've just had an incredible group of people around me too, constantly other coaches who have really poured into these kids and not only helped them become great basketball players, but just really good men. And that makes it fun. And that's why we're here. And I think that's why we've been successful.
Yeah, I would agree with you, right? Like there are standards, and it's not for everybody. And what ends up is the ones that do stay and the ones that do pour into it. I made this statement. It doesn't make sense really, but I made this saying that in our program, those who care the most will get cared for the most. I know it doesn't make sense, doesn't rhyme, isn't catchy, but I think it gets the point across, right? Those that care the most, families, staff members, players, they're going to get cared for the most. Now, again, it's not always the same level of what they want, right? But that's kind of, they're going to be a part of something special, and that's where, I think that's what we're shooting for.
Yeah, it's great getting to coach kids who are humble, who want to be helped. I mean, you want to help kids who want to be helped, right? I mean, the kids that are coming to you and they want to put in the extra time and the extra work. I always try to make the commitment to them that they're not going to outwork me. If they want to be here in the mornings, I'm going to be committed to meeting them here in the mornings. If they want to come at night, I'm going to have a family and have a life and those types of things. So there are times, of course, I can't do that, but I'll try to make that happen as much as I can. And I'm trying to help them accomplish their goals and do the things that they want to do. And, I want them to appreciate that, and I want to be there for them. So, yeah, I love it when kids come to me and say, Coach, I want to be great. How do I do that? What do I need to do? What's the roadmap to get there? And then we'll lay out a plan and work at it together to try to accomplish that.
Yeah. Teamwork makes the dream work, they say.
Sure.
So now let's segue to, I just want to get a feel for your practice. You and I was talking about we need to come watch each other's practices.
Yeah.
Let me get a feel for your practice. So, everybody says, we've said before, what does it sound like? What does it look like? And you can include all that, but what does it feel like? What does a Keb Burley Calvary Christian practice feel like?
That's a great question. I feel like it varies year to year, and depending on your personnel, the leadership that you have, the standards that have been established with each individual group. So there are years where you've got to bring it as a coach. You've got to be that leader, for a while till you get your group up to the standard that you expect them to perform at every day, and the level of intensity and focus that you want them to have each day. And then there are other years when that's established and you can really step back, and those kids demand that out of each other. And that's when it's the most fun and the most effective, I think, when we're player led and the kids are the ones holding each other accountable. It's really, really good. But we want to have a mixture of fun. It's a grind. Sometimes it's hard for me to remember. When I played, I know I'm ancient, but I mean, when I played, there was no travel ball or anything like that. Team Florida was the only team that was an AAU team, I think, in the whole state. So if you didn't make Team Florida, you didn't play travel basketball. You were just playing rec leagues and pickup ball and stuff like that all over the place. So now these kids are playing 120 games a year. And, we go in and play team ABC or whatever on a Tuesday night in the middle of the year, who's not very good. And, I'm screaming and yelling at them. And, so I gotta keep that in mind sometimes, but we want the intensity to be really, really good. We want the focus to be really good, the energy to be really good. We want to be super efficient and respectful of their time. And I'm pretty anal about that. We break our practices up into different skills and drills and things that we do. And I'm trying really hard to stay on point with that. So hopefully, you would come in and appreciate the intensity, the focus that we have, and then the efficiency of our practice too.
So we're in the off season time. Is this where you're figuring out your team and saying, okay, maybe I'm going to have to take that leadership role a little bit more strongly now, or are you trying to fill that out for yourself here during this time?
So every year is different, and we've had basically the same team for the last 2 years. We had almost everybody back this past year, and we had such an incredible group, just not only of basketball players, but young men. I mean, they were so much fun to coach. So we kind of knew going from last year into this year what we were going to do, how we wanted to play, that kind of thing. But yeah, in the off season, you guys know, being a high school coach, you get who you get. And I love that part of coaching. I love that part of trying to figure out what's the best way for this group to play, what's the best style for them to bring out the talents and the abilities that they have. So we really try to figure that out in June. We're going to play in the Gainesville Live period. Hopefully we'll see you up there, Billy. And then we're going to go to Georgia and play in the live period up there. We play in a twice a week league, local league here at Gibbs High School, which is a lot of really good teams. So we're figuring it out in June. And then hopefully we have a really good idea of exactly what we have. And then we try to formulate a game plan to go into the season that's going to help these guys achieve as best they can.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard right now because Billy, I think I'm going to try to take Billy's way of doing it where because I now have 15 kids this off season and it is stupid, unmanageable. It's dumb. It's dumb, but I'm loyal to them. So I'm going to give them a go. Yeah. But I think I'm going to, Billy, I think that's what's good is kind of our schedule. Our weekday has a decent mixture of maybe not as tough teams. So the main guys, and there's only 3 of them, maybe 4. Who knows, but
you got a lot of good guys, Joe. Stop it.
They're going to be getting ready for the weekend. Like they're going to play a lot on the weekends and the other kids will probably get more playing time during the week. So, but again, that's a problem I've made with my group. So we'll see how that goes. Never done it before.
Last year we had, we were 6'10", 6'9", 6'8", and then like 6'4", 6'2". So, I mean, I've never had that. So we've always been predominantly, man-to-man team. We like to get out and deny one away and try to pressure the ball and do those types of things. And then last year, just with the length that we had, we ended up playing more zone than we've ever played since I've coached it. And it was great, for that group. But it was a little bit of a different style. 3 years before that, we had a really, really good team, but we were tiny. And we were pressing and running and jumping and driving and kicking and doing, so it just, personnel is a huge part of what you got to do as a high school coach. But I love figuring things out like that. I really enjoy that part of the job.
All right. So you mentioned it. You mentioned that on a Tuesday, you're playing a team that's not very good and your kids aren't very motivated because they're playing a bunch of games. When did this click in your head? Because I feel like you don't play any easy teams anymore. So did you say, listen, you're going to play 128 games. I'm not going to let you, we're going to play a gauntlet of a schedule right now. And that way there's no letdown and I'm not going to get mad if you let down.
So I think I've changed over the years with that. Early on in my coaching career, I was a lot harder. I've had kids come back from early in career and come to our practice, and that's okay, and say, like, who are you, man? Like you would kill us if we did something like this at practice. So I'm a little bit more laid back, but I do understand. I mean, if the kids don't come out and play in a game, I don't care who we're playing, where it is, whatever, I'm going to want them to feel like that's the worst thing that can ever happen. That better never happen again. But on the flip side, I'm human and I watch the NBA playoffs and I see a team lose by 30 and then come back the next game and win by 30. And I'm thinking, what changed? And, I know there are adjustments that are made and stuff like that, but I think it's a lot mental. I think it's a lot of, just one team wanting more and being more mentally prepared going into that game. So to expect, more from a bunch of 16, 17-year-olds than you can from, NBA playoff players is tough, but you just don't, and that's a life lesson, right? You got to come to work every day, man, ready to go and give it everything you have, but sometimes you're going to fall short. So my response, I would say is not as tough nowadays as maybe it used to be, but I still try to be pretty firm on those things.
The crazy thing now with the way the ranking system goes is if you take a bad loss though, to a bad team, I think that's where my anxiety, kicked in my last year. Was like, man, I stressed out more so over teams that we should beat than the challenging games, because it felt like if we lost it, we were in a hole.
Yeah, that's so true. That is so true. And it does lead you, it definitely raises your anxiety level. You feel terrible. Like, I've never been a guy, I'm going to try to beat somebody by 50 or something like that. I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to play our bench. And if we got to sit back in a 2-3 and tell them not to go outside the 3-point line. But sometimes you play a team, if you don't win by 20, it's going to hurt you. And then we don't know all of the analytics of it, right? Like, maybe you guys know more than me. I don't know what that number is. I've been told it's like 20, but I don't know. So then you're, trying to get a steal when you're up 18 with 30. What do you do? So I hate that part of the game, but that's a great point, Billy.
It leaked into the NCAA tournament because, you don't even see, teams because they're so worried about the analytics, of a bad possession and their numbers dropping, they won't bring in the walk-ons anymore. They're up 20 and they're not letting them play still. It's because they gotta every possession it matters
Yeah,
and it just sucks, but, just
it does. I like the ranking system. I think Max Preps is pretty good. I mean, for what they have to do and all the teams across the nation, there are certainly things that I disagree with from time to time, but overall, I think it's a pretty good system. But there are just things that go along with it. I think it's hard to avoid, and that's certainly one of them.
no doubt.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think we're at some point soon, maybe even next year, going straight to max preps 100%.
Yeah,
I
I
think it's
did.
next year, yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be next year, but those decisions get made by other people and they change. But the one thing that max preps always deals with is, well, the FHSA and the max preps is FHSA goes off of like how much you're supposed to win by.
Mhm.
So if you don't reach that expected margin, however that is formulated, none of us know,
Right.
then it hurts you.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're in that boat. And then the max preps, there's no cap. So people are going to be just, especially in like girls basketball, it's going to get really
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
ugly, I imagine, if people figure that out, which I don't know. Well, who knows? I mean, that's
You're
asking a lot
saying
of
in
people.
Max Preps, there's no cap, so it's better to win by 50 than 40? Is
Right.
that
Yes.
is that
The
right?
Right.
FHSA has some sort of cap and it counts forfeits. Max preps, I don't
Yeah.
think counts forfeits.
There should be a
Yeah.
cap. At a certain point, it
Oh
just,
yeah.
you
Oh
know,
yeah.
there should certainly be a cap. That's not
Yeah.
good.
There definitely should be a cap. And the one thing too is it's just there needs to be some transparency, but people will game the system no matter what you got going on. So you can't get too much into
Kev,
it.
Kev, I want to go back to what you said, and I struggled with this. You said this year with your length, you played more zone. Like I've always had a tough time, uh, doing something that I'm not necessarily comfortable with. Like I'm just never been comfortable teaching zone. So
Yeah.
how have you, as a coach, like, developed that ability to go outside of your box, and get out of your comfortability and teach what's, effectively?
So that's something that I just enjoy. Like one of the things I feel like I'm really good at, there's a lot of things I'm not, but is preparing. I always try to really, really prepare. And I love basketball. Like I love learning new things and I love, trying different things. So it was pretty exciting to learn all the different intricacies of these different zones. And we had 3 different zones that we played. And I'll tell you what, it did allow us to work a lot more on offense because man to man
Right.
it takes a lot of time, to be
Right.
really good at playing man defense. The zones you can put in a couple days and, talk about some rotations. And then a couple of things we changed was how we rebounded defensively out of zones. We struggle with that early on because we're heavy, we're always wanting to hit somebody, get a body on somebody when a shot goes up. And we kind of changed a little bit to zone rebounding when a shot went up. And that helped us a lot. That was very different for me. But I mean, when you're 6'10", 6'9", 6'8", 6'4", 6'2", and you get your active hands, you get your hands out, you can make some mistakes and still be okay with it in these zones. So it was different, very, very different. But I enjoyed learning it, and we ended up enjoying, playing that zone, and we got to be pretty good at it.
Let's get into that scouting process. I'm a huge fan of your scouts. We've shared some, mine definitely not as thorough as yours. How's that process? Take us a few steps on that one.
So we have a great staff. We have a guy on our staff who he is such a good scout guy. Like he loves watching film. He's great at film. He's great at splicing it up and creating film sessions for our players and that kind of thing. And so this guy, I've known him forever. He didn't play high school basketball. He didn't play college basketball, but he's in Mensa. So he's like one of these guys. He's like the top 1% in the world intelligence or whatever. So he learned our system and our program like so fast, not knowing anything. But he has some really quirky and interesting viewpoints on things because he just didn't grow up the way we grew up in the game. And a lot of times it's really accurate, but he helps us with our scout a ton. Funny, we were playing the Thompson twin, Amen and Amir Thompson. There was their sophomore year in high school. We're playing in this tournament down in South Florida. And we were excited, to get to play them. Obviously, they were really, really good players. So we had a great scout on them. We were going to, keep them in front, play heavy in the gaps, one pass away, try to make them, shoot the ball, contest their shot, get a body on them, box them out. So it's halftime. We did an incredible job on it. We're up 8 points at the half, and we're, fired up. We got this. We're going to beat these guys. We come out in the second half, and they start in a 3/4 court 2-2-1. And those two guys are up front in the 2-2-1. And we cannot get the ball past half court. I mean, we're turning it over, all live ball turnovers, alley-oop dunks, and it's just, a highlight reel. So call a timeout, we adjust our alignment, change a kid, go back, same thing. Call a second timeout, realign, a different thing, same thing. So the third timeout, he comes over to me, this coach I'm telling you about. He's like, Keb, don't be mad at me, but listen, when those guys come to trap our guy, just tell them to throw the ball out of bounds, and we'll go back and set up our defense, and we'll be good. I'm like, I think I yelled at him or something, like, will you be quiet? Then after the game, I'm like, that would have worked. We ended up losing the game. I'm like, that might have worked, so he has some really interesting viewpoints. But we'll split up the film a little bit. He'll watch some. Sometimes we'll kind of do like a college team. He'll scout one team for them, and I'll do another one and create the scout on that one. But I trust him a lot. He's really good at it. So that helps a ton. But we just try to break down the personnel and try to find anything that we can help our guys with. Are they heavy right hand? Do they have one go-to move? Give them some information on that. Maybe a couple of their sets that they run a lot, a couple out of bounds plays, and then some weaknesses that we see in them defensively and try to exploit those. Sometimes I probably put too much in it, Joe, to be, and the kids are like, can we just play, basketball? Can we go out there and be great? But we enjoy that. We really enjoy scouting. And yours are great, too. I love trading scouts with you. You have some great insight on that, too.
The scout would have changed, playing zone more often. Like you said, you spend probably less time on zone defense and more on your offense and stuff. So you're talking more player. What's a guy doing? How many guys are you putting on there? That's the thing. Like, I hate when you do a scout and you leave number 10 on, and number 10 lights us up. He's got 15 off the bench. So how many deep are you going in your player?
In our rotation, it changed. That's another thing that changes year to year. Last year we were like maybe 7 or 8. Playing in the zone.
No, Coach, I'm talking about in your scouts though. Like when you're diving into another team's another team. Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I leave off number 10, and then number 10 drops 15 off the bench. You know what I mean? And Coach Blackburn's looking at me like, "What the heck, man? What are you doing, brother?"
We're usually mostly focused on a starting 5. And then if we see somebody that's a problem coming in off the bench, we'll talk about those. But usually those guys are specialized in one way. Either they're a shooter, a rebounder, a really good defender or something like that. So we'll put some notes in there about that. And to try to simplify it for the guys, because, we're not a college team, where they've got school all day and that kind of thing. So they're not studying these. We've learned, as much as we do. We put all this time into it, and sometimes they don't, look at it nearly as much as we do, of course, but we'll try to group guys together. Like if they have 3 shooters that we want to say, hey, they're no lift, if they catch what we want to jump. So, 10, 12, and 14 or whatever their numbers are, they're the same scout. Maybe they got a couple of post players. So we try not to have like 8 different, really extensive scouts on 8 different guys, because I think that would be more confusing to them than beneficial, so we'll try to simplify it as much as we can. And while at the same time, helping them out with it as much as we can.
Keb, let's segue. So what are some of the standards that you hold near and dear to your program?
So we're so blessed at Calvary, like with the resources that we have. When I got here, Joe, we're 9 through 12. We don't have, we're not K through 12. We're 9 through 12. We had, I think, 175 kids. This year now, I think we have 900 kids in 14 years. I mean, our enrollment has absolutely exploded, and I think it's a testament to our faculty and just our facilities. A lot of things. You remember the gym we used to have? I mean, we played when you were at Bloomingdale. We played in there, and I thought it was the worst gym in Pinellas County. And now I think we have, the best gym in Pinellas County. But we've got an incredible staff. So we've got a team chaplain who he comes in every Wednesday and he leads our devotion. And this guy is amazing, man. I mean, he pours into our kids spiritually. We had 3 kids get baptized this year, so that's at the heart of everything we do. Our high school is a ministry of our church. So we are here to serve our church, and our first purpose is to lead these kids to Christ and teach them about our Lord and Savior, and then everything else after that falls into that. But we had also this year, we had a mental performance coach that came in once a week. I teach an entrepreneurial leadership class at Calvary, and he's a part of a group of guys that come in and help with that class. And he's unbelievable, man. Like he's, become a huge mentor of mine. He's, I think, almost 70 now, and he just got his doctorate like 2 years ago, went back and got his doctorate in leadership, something or other. He runs like 2 marathons a month, reads 8 books a month. He's just one of the, gets up at 3:30 in the morning. So he's pouring into all these guys with that stuff. And we've got a strength and conditioning coach with our basketball team that helps those guys. So we're unbelievable. I realize I listen to Coach Bilcher at Santa Fe, and he's doing all this stuff. So I'm thinking, man, am I lucky to have these guys? But they really help set the tone and the standards. And, our standard every year is just to glorify God in everything that we do. And then everything else falls into that, in line behind that.
All I know is I'm super jealous, Joe. Like, I just heard all that and all this amazing stuff. Like, that's really good, man.
It's unbelievable. And 2 of those guys, I mean, they volunteer. They're just
That's
volunteers that
awesome.
come in and want to help the program and do it for no other reason. They want to pour into the kids. So we're super, super blessed for that, for sure.
Well, it must say something to you and your leadership too. People aren't going to want to
Right.
come around if you're not doing it the right way and they're fitting and they have a purpose in the program. We talk about all the time with other people how difficult it is to utilize assistant coaches. And obviously they're pouring into you or you're pouring into them. So they're coming around whether you pay them or not. So that's a testament to you. Player development. You talked about guys coming in early to shoot. You talk about all those different things. Are you doing a lot of skill work type practices, or is it half your practice is skill work? Do you have a belief or philosophy of how you're working? And I know it probably changes based on the player, but players. But do you do anything special with that?
We do a lot of shooting. We try to get up a lot of shots, and if we're able to get some, guys in the morning, and that, we can take that part of our practice out, work on other things at practice. But we try to do at least an hour every day in skills, and the majority of that shooting, and then we'll do ball handling and passing. And most of these guys either take a weightlifting class during the day, get their lifting in, or a lot of these guys have their own guy. I don't know if you guys run into that, but they have their own guy that they go to and do some, different stuff. And some of our guys have trainers, skill trainers, which, that's a whole different thing, outside of our team. So they do that kind of stuff. But just within our program, we try to do at least an hour of skill work every day when we're in season. And then out of season, it just depends on, what's going on, summer, spring, fall, what's going on with those guys. As you guys know, they're playing travel ball all spring and July. So they're doing a lot of stuff with those teams, and they're trying to work out their schedule so they're ready to go during those live periods and when they're going to have opportunities to play in front of college coaches. So that kind of dictates things more now than it used to. But skill wise, we definitely worked mostly on shooting, and then secondarily ball handling and third passing.
Coach, do you try to connect with those trainers, the skill guys, or are you trying to align with, to make sure that they're aligned with what you want?
Usually I am. There have been a few that I haven't had relationships with, and there actually been a couple, like I didn't even know a couple of our guys were working with them, and that kind of thing. So the challenging part is we've had some guys in our program that work unbelievably hard and almost too hard. Like they're a couple guys, just this past year really went through some injury issues and stuff like that. And they were just working way too hard. They didn't understand the value of rest and, really making sure that your body was 100%. It's because they work so hard. It's hard to, get on about that. But you had a guy that he's working out with a trainer in the morning, and then, we'll have a skill workout, and then we'll have our practice, and then he'll go at night and work out again. And led to like a couple stress fractures and, things that really held them back. And if you're not communicating with them, it's detrimental to the player. And I think that happened a little bit with us recently because we're going super hard in our practice. And then maybe this trainer, it's a hard leg day for them. And that's, that's unfortunate because the players suffered. So I think generally we do a good job of that, but there have been times where we've probably, missed the target on that.
We had Jamin Copeland on from Ave, and he had a interesting take. So I want to kind of get your take on it. His philosophy with player development is like he doesn't really want to work on things they're good at. He really wants to hammer the things they're not good at. And I know that's kind of like maybe a different approach for some. What do you feel on that side of the skill development part?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really important. And then, I also see the flip side of that. Like there are a lot of guys that play in the NBA right now that are shooters, man. And they make shots and they don't handle the ball. They don't do a lot of things, but man, they can shoot it and they got to be able to defend and rebound a little bit too. Right. And, there are guys that do some other things. So I think I was probably more in agreement with him earlier on in my career, but now I do see the value of specializing a little bit where, teams are looking for specific things that are going to benefit their team. All of our guys got to be able to defend. They all got to, play hard and rebound and that kind of thing. But not all of them are going to be handling the ball all the time, and not all of them are going to be shooting the ball, all the time. If they could, that'd be great. This team we had last year, they were pretty good at those things. Yeah, that's an interesting dilemma. Certainly improving your weaknesses is hugely important, but I don't know that I would agree if you're sacrificing what you're great at, and not staying true to that.
So, Coach, what have you changed your mind on recently?
That's a good question, Joe. Darn you. What
Took
have I
us 40
changed?
minutes to get one.
Huh?
Took us 40 minutes to get a good question.
I would say one of the things that, and maybe I'm a little bit later to the game than some other coaches, but just the value of spacing and maybe trying to do a little bit less when I have really good talent. You know what I mean? Instead of, running a real intricate offense or something like that, just get up and down the court, space the floor, get to the rim, draw two and kick and play, So I'm buying into that a little bit more than maybe I have in the past, where we've maybe run a little bit more offense than we needed to get a shot that we maybe would have been able to get just off a drive and kick or a drive and get to the rim and score. So that might be one thing. I don't know if that's a great answer, but that's one that came to mind.
It's hard, right? I mean, you got a guy like Ben McCollum who is anti-play fast because he feels that's going to give him the best chance to win. So he is running more sets and more stuff to get those little advantages. Then you got other programs that, Alabama, they're just hunting the first three or first hand to backboard shot possible and creating space and just flying up the court. So I guess based on your personnel, as you mentioned earlier, you can determine what is best for you instead of just doing what everybody else does or what you used to do kind of thing.
And they're both really good. I mean, both those coaches are really good and those teams are really good. We have next year, we've got, 6'10", 6'9" coming back. So, we've got to play, a way that's going to really showcase those guys and take advantage of their skills. And then our younger guys, like our JV team, we've got a bunch of small guys that are really good. I mean, we're going to get after it. And me being a little guy myself, I like playing fast. I mean, if I could pick a team or pick a way to play, we'd be pressing and running and jumping and, getting up and down. And I love playing that way. I just, the slower game is a little bit harder for me, but I've got to do what's best for our guys,
Yeah, no, I tip my cap to you because that ability to do so, it's not easy. It's not easy to adjust and like, you kind of mentioned it earlier and we all get caught into fads, like we're seeing Alabama do it the way, oh, we're going to get our team to do it. Like, well, in high school, it doesn't work like that. Like we're not getting kids that can do what they can do. So we got to figure it out. And it's important. So young coach, I just just got into the Pinellas County. I think St. Pete's got an opening now, right? I don't know if they filled that position. So let's say it's a young guy gets the St. Pete job. What advice are you giving that young coach?
I think all of us are in it for a little bit different reasons. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a certain group of guys that are um, really ambitious, which is great, and they're trying to move up the chain and maybe pursue college jobs or get as high as they can, that kind of thing. And then I think there's some other guys like me. I love where I'm at. I love what I do. I don't really have any ambition to go and coach a college team or anything like that. I just feel like I have a great situation, and I love our school, and I love being able to share my faith and coach the kids that I get to coach. So, kind of depending on what they're looking to do. If it's somebody that's ambition, wants to really, really grow, I mean, they got to, get out there and put themselves out there and get to clinics and get to camps and try to meet as many people as they can. And, also be successful, with their guys. And then if it's, someone who's getting into it because they want to pour back into the kids and that kind of thing, I think that'll just kind of take care of itself. If that's your goal and who you want to be and the type of program you want to run, then I think that'll bless itself. And both are great. There's nothing wrong with either one, but yeah, I think it's what you're in it for. We've got a great group of coaches over here. I love the coaches in Pinellas County, a lot of really good coaches and a lot of really, really good guys. It's been fun over the last, 15 years getting to know all the coaches in our area. And it is kind of a fraternity. You know what I mean? I mean, we go through a lot. It's not easy there is so much that goes into being a high school coach. And Billy, I'm sure a college coach too. I mean, I can't imagine all the things that you guys have to do, but between scheduling and travel and practice and all this stuff. I mean, and we teach too. I mean, we have a full-time job. So there's a lot that goes into it. So I respect everybody that does it. And I love talking to other coaches and picking their brains. That's why I love you guys' podcast and get to hear different insights and, how different people do it. But there are a lot of really, really good coaches. There are some good young coaches over here that are going places. And there's a lot of guys, old guys like me that, I feel like are good at what they do and are happy with where they're at.
Yeah, Pinellas County fraternity is something special, though. And I say that because I was over there as a high school kid. So I know a lot of the coaches and all the people. And I don't know if it started with like Clearwater. They seem to be like the first one, maybe Lakewood too. And they got it going. So real quick, though, you've been awesome, Keb. Coach Teeden, you got your rapid fire. You got your
I do. Yeah. Yeah. And it's a good segue because we talked about the 941 a little bit. So I'll get to ask some 941 questions for you. So
yeah,
we got to.
All right. So maybe you mean 727?
I mean 727. I don't know why I say 941. Yeah.
Must
See, look at me. I'm a Hillsborough County
somebody,
guy, man.
Must be recruiting somebody from Manatee or something.
Yeah, the 727. Exactly.
So Keb, if you're right, Coach Teeden's gonna throw some rapid fire at you. So the rules are you got to answer first thing comes to your mind.
As long as he doesn't talk about my record against him. I've been waiting for
that was a fun game, though. That was a good time.
I remember that.
All right, Coach.
Yeah.
That was at Brooks to Barlow, I think, that we got a chance
Matt
to play.
Simpson put it on us.
Yeah.
He was good, man. He was really good.
He was good. He's a good player. Not a good coach, just good players. All right, here we go, Coach. Shot clock. Are you in favor for the shot clock?
Yes.
All right. Best player out of the 727
right now
that you've seen out of the 727 besides Joe Willis?
Oh man, there's not even a close second after Joe Willis. Man, I would say there was a kid named Billy Teeden that went to Arkansas back when I was in school. He's probably the best high school player I've seen over here.
Gibbs.
Billy Teeden, then Joe Willis.
Well, I'm the best one to stay out of jail. So because Billy Teeden had a little issue there with that.
A little issue. Yeah, he had
Good night. All right. Best coach out of Pinellas County.
Man,
it could be current. It could be, so you can get a retired guy. We won't.
And I saw Jack Coit. He was at one of our Christmas tournaments. I don't know if you guys remember him, but he'd been around. He was a legendary, really, really good coach back in the day. Rudy Coffin, really good. And now we've got some great, coaches over here. Larry Murphy does a great job with Gibbs, and they're good guys all over.
No doubt. All right, I'm gonna get you off the Pinellas County hot seat. All right, well, I got two. I got an NCAA one and an NBA one here. Okay. All right. The 76 team format. Are you in favor of that?
No.
That's trash. What are we
Yeah,
doing here?
they're getting
Best tournament. Yeah, what are we doing, man? Best tournament in sports, and we're doing 70. What are we doing? All right.
agree.
All right, last one. Has LeBron played his last game?
I think so. I hope
All
so.
right.
I've gone back and forth with LeBron, like loving him and not loving him and that kind of.
Yeah.
Man, I respect him. I mean, to
Yeah.
take care of his body and do the things he's done, the longevity of his career is pretty incredible. So I'd hate to see him tarnish that and, keep hanging around because he's still really good, so
No doubt.
I'd like to see him hang it up.
Yeah, no farewell tour. Let's just call it a day. Dylan Brooks got to hate on him, and we'll call it a day. We'll end on that.
Well, Coach, man, this has been so much fun, man. I know we can dive in and go for a whole other hour, but we would be the only ones listening. So that's we like to cut it. We like to cut it off. We maybe we save it for a part 2 where people will come back and want some more info. But Coach, appreciate you, man. You're doing a great job. I'll probably see you in Gainesville, and keep on doing your thing. And I know you do the right way, and just big fan.
Hey, same to you guys. I respect the two of you guys so much, and thank you for having me. This has been a blast. I love talking hoops, and nobody better to talk to than you two guys. So thanks for having me. I feel very honored to have been on the podcast.
Clip it, Joe. Clip it.